What's going on, Godzilla fans? UnrealEntGaming here today, bringing you some news, information, and updates surrounding Godzilla. Now, for those of you out there who don't already know, there is a sequel planned and in development right now for the 2014 Godzilla movie, as well as a third film that will be in development after the second film. So yes, there will be a Godzilla trilogy right after the continuation of Godzilla 2014. Gareth Edwards is still attached to direct Godzilla 2 and Godzilla 3, despite the Star Wars developmental deal he has, which is pretty much going to be a spin-off. So pretty much for those of you out there who don't already know, the guy who made, Godzilla 2014 is set to make a spin-off for Star Wars, set for release on December 16th, 2016. So that just means that if this guy is going to release Star Wars in 2016, that just means that Godzilla is going to be pushed for either 2017 or 2018. Personally, for me, it's a very long time from now. It's about, 40 years from now? But nevertheless, Gareth Edwards is scheduled to direct Star Wars first, followed by Godzilla, the sequel. Now, a lot of people are speculating on what the sequel might contain. Number one, for me, I would love to see more battles. I spoke to several of my friends who actually told me that the only reason why they thought Pacific Rim was better was because of the fight attachments that a Pacific Rim presented you with. Pacific Rim did present a lot of great battles. Just very, very great formats, and especially the way they utilize the kaijus. But I feel like for the next film, we should actually tell more of a story surrounding Godzilla more than Aaron Taylor Johnson or anybody else who's going to be playing the main character. Now, personally for me, I feel like Aaron Taylor Johnson did not do as good of a job as Bryan Cranston did. Bryan Cranston should have been the main character and he should have been alive, spoiler alert. But the Godzilla sequel should definitely base a few things within its categories. Number one, I do believe that they should include more fights, which I do believe they will have, because one of the biggest feedbacks were the fact that they were missing fights. Number two is adding a Toho monster, which we don't know for sure if they're going to do yet. Some people want to see Ghidorah, some people want to see Rodan, some people want to see Mothra and Gigan and Mechagodzilla and Destroya. We don't really know what they're going to do just yet, although we could sit here and talk about this for days and just how they might include those monsters. Although they did a very good job in explaining what Godzilla's origins were, the fact that he was an ancient dinosaur, as well as the Mutos were ancient creatures as well. And it definitely sets up for another movie, and it sets up for many movies, especially towards the end of Godzilla, where they pretty much hailed him as the king of monsters. Now, what do they mean by monsters? He only fought 2 monsters, you know what I mean? I mean, people thought that was it, right? I mean, not until the next one, but of course, we don't know what they're going to include. Will Toho hand over the rights? We don't really know for sure. If they did, we don't know which creatures or creature they're going to add within the film. It might be 1 Toho monster, it might be 2 Toho monsters, we don't know yet. And number 3, personally for me, I think that they should replace Aaron Taylor Johnson's character with somebody else, because Aaron Taylor Johnson, he did a good job, but he didn't do as great of a job as Bryan Cranston. Now, for me personally, I think that the sequel, if they're not planning on releasing it in 2016, should debut around the late 2017, early 2018 mark. Just because I feel like if they wait and they wait and they wait, it will kill the momentum. I mean, personally for me, I really enjoyed Godzilla 2014. I went to go see it 3 times. I followed the story. I was looking at the Easter eggs, the kiss of death, the fights with the Mutos. Everything was phenomenal. So I feel like they should definitely execute that to its fullest extent in the next film, as well as categorizing other monsters as being Mutos as well. Now, a lot of people may not agree with that. Some people are saying, well, what do you mean? For example, if they do happen to introduce Ghidorah, Gigan, Destroya, they should have the government also label those creatures as being Mutos. Except I feel like if they're going to have Serizawa in the film, Serizawa should actually give these creatures nicknames. For example, if the government is going to name Gigan a Muto, Serizawa can give it a nickname and call it Gigan, or, Ghidorah and stuff like that. So let's say, for example, they introduce Rodan. The government can be like, well, this is a Muto, this is categorized and classified as a Muto, and then, Serizawa can be like, yes, but this creature, he's going to be named Rodan, and let's mark these creatures down and let's write down their origins and stuff, and just building up the creatures from there. That's only if they decide to bring back the old creatures. Now, a lot of you guys really want to see Mechagodzilla. A lot of you guys really want to see Mechagodzilla. I really don't see why you would include Mechagodzilla. I mean, what would be the point of humans building a robotic Godzilla when the real one exists? And the real one, when it rises again, it isn't going to be very happy on seeing his, protege being made out of metal, you know what I mean? If that, they might as well just do a Pacific Rim crossover. But for me, I think they should definitely introduce new monsters and definitely have longer fights. That's something that really pissed me off. They didn't really have as long as fights as, I mean, personally for me, when I first saw the Muto and Godzilla engage, I was like, holy shit, this is it. But then they cut it off really fast, and I was like, well, this is really disappointing. What's really interesting is the fact that Gareth Edwards claims that he is going to direct Godzilla 3 for sure, 100%. And he's just obligated right now by Lucasfilms throughout 2015 and 16 to do the Star Wars spinoff. The sequel to Godzilla, like I said, is rumored to be debuting around 2018. I mean, a lot of Star Wars / Godzilla fans might bump heads on this one and say, well, Godzilla should come out first, then, Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. Godzilla isn't really a keeper of peace, but he's just, made from nature itself. He's just there. He's described as a predator. So in the next film, why not have another monster who's also a predator looking for Godzilla? So now you have two predators, and you have pretty much Godzilla, who can be hailed as the inferior one compared to the superior one, which can be any kind of monster. It could be a genetically, modified, altered, monster developed by the government. It could be an alien-like life form. It could be something that was already within our, world to begin with, like the Mutos was. Now, a lot of people might say that the best Godzilla movie was either Final Wars or Godzilla King of Monsters from 1956. In which case, Godzilla 2014 is a reboot of, in a certain sense. But, I mean, Godzilla did great in the box office, although X-Men did beat it out just by a little bit. Godzilla did amazing in the box office, nonetheless. 2018, it seems far too long from now. People might not, expect to see much from it. People might not be excited as much when it comes out 4 years from now. I mean, literally. Now, a lot of people were pissed off on this film, talking about how Pacific Rim was superior and how Pacific Rim had more of an agenda. I mean, you can't really say that, because if you actually paid attention, Godzilla told more of a story than Pacific Rim did. Now, 2018 is upsetting. I enjoyed Godzilla a lot. I don't mind that Edwards is taking time off to work on something else. I think we can all agree that the Bryan Cranston scenes were the best parts of the movie, because he introduced so many different elements to the actual movie itself. But for the next film, we're not going to have, Bryan Cranston. So, I mean, what do we go for? Like, what do we do from here? Where do we go? I mean, I'm really curious to see how they decide to follow up Godzilla. I mean, they already did the whole man's arrogance message in the film, and I guess they can do a message on how man never learns from their mistakes. For example, man can be just as ignorant, probably more ignorant than ever. Just looking at a human's perspective, per se, they can make the same mistakes over and over again. For me personally, I feel like the fighting aspect should be way longer than 5 minutes. I mean, that pretty much should just go without question. Yes, I do believe that they should also focus on the humans, but if it's a Godzilla film, you have to focus around Godzilla, and you have to give Godzilla a challenge. Now, we saw that Godzilla had a great challenge in the film against both of the Mutos creatures, and it was actually very intense because they jumped him, and it was very awesome to see. Now, Gareth Edwards should focus on Godzilla, not Star Wars. J.J. Abrams is doing Star Wars Episode 7. As a matter of fact, J.J. Abrams is doing Star Wars Episode 7, 8, and 9. There's going to be a new trilogy, But Disney is also working on making a spin-off, which is going to include Gareth Edwards. Now, I don't believe Gareth Edwards should even involve himself in that. I think he should just build the Godzilla universe first, establish that, get it established, and then focus on other projects. You know, I mean, there are different directors focusing for different films, but I think Gareth Edwards should definitely focus on Godzilla. Now, Godzilla really does need better monsters, so to say. There were pretty much, if you had to embody and pretty much recap Godzilla, it was pretty much 3 monsters, you know, converging to a city. Everybody was leaving, but for some reason, you know, the monsters just didn't bother, you know, going for the nukes as much as they were fighting each other in a certain sense, you know, except for the female, of course, because she had to harvest her eggs. But like I said, Godzilla the sequel, is it going to be better than this film? Yes, it will. The Godzilla sequel will be much better than this film, because I feel like Gareth Edwards is actually going to listen to the fans, number one, and I also feel like Gareth Edwards is going to focus more around Godzilla now that the story is more established. I mean, for me, like I said, introduce new monsters. If you want to introduce Toho monsters, that's fine. But I feel like if you have your own creature that you created, I feel like it would be a much better atmosphere, so to say, because we're looking at something new, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just my personal perception on things, because if you were to have new monsters, it would tell more of a story than having the old ones, because we already been there, done that. Why not move on to something else? So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below surrounding the Godzilla sequel. What do you guys expect to see in this trilogy? What monsters do you guys expect to see? What monsters would you guys include? And also explain to me, how exactly would you guys do the sequel? I want to know your story on the Godzilla sequel. It will be very interesting. I always read the comments. It'll be very interesting to know your thoughts and your opinions on the sequel. So anyways, everybody, thank you all for watching. My name is UnrealEntGaming. If you guys are Godzilla fans, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all latest Godzilla news, information, and updates. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to hit it up with a like and a favorite. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Hopefully, this sequel will not take that long to make. But it is what it is. The guy's busy, you know, so all we can do right now is just play the waiting game. So let me know what you guys think, and I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys in the next episode. Take care, everybody. Peace.